Alrighty, folks. Hello, hello, and welcome back to Adobe Live. My name is VooDoo Val, and we are going to dive into some more Adobe Express today. I am super excited for today's prompts and today's work. Yesterday, if you joined me, we dove into some simple promos and things that you might jump into Express to create, and then a few tips and tricks for how to bring those designs to the next level. And today what we're going to be doing is kind of diving into some of those designs that we worked on yesterday and kind of tweaking them, going over, as I said, some pro tips, some tips and tricks and things to make them look a little more fancy, give them a little more pizzazz and all that stuff. And then we're going to be diving into where you can very easily and quickly learn more about Adobe Express. And then we are also going to dive into a little bit of animation and templates and things like that. So I'm super pumped. If you are watching me live today, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are watching this replay in the future, hello, hello, and welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. I see Oliver and Swami, Barbara, Sean. It is good to see all of you folks. Our friend Frank is here. Annika, Sean, hello. Thank you all for joining me. I'm gonna pop over here real quick and we are going to dive right in, shall we? All right, let's pull up Express and I'm gonna pop right over here. All right, so if you come to express.adobe.com, this is what you're gonna see. I kind of went over a little bit of this yesterday, but one thing I would like to kind of dive back into if you are watching for the first time today is coming to this page, you will see so many templates and things to choose from, different kinds of posts, different kinds of assets in different shapes and sizes for different genres, different events, different kinds of posts. And this is a great place to kind of get some inspiration or find a starting place for any project that you're going to be making, whether it's resumes or invitations. There are even book covers and things that you can design here, which is a lot of fun. And it's a great place to get started if you are, number one, working on some kind of promotional material for a client. If you are maybe an Etsy seller or just an influencer on social media, kind of representing your own brand, and you need some promotional materials to kind of get the word out about your content or your products, and maybe you don't have a graphic designer. Maybe you want to do it yourself, and this is a great place to come and get quality promotional material, quality branding, and create that for whichever project you are diving into. So what we're going to start with today is we snagged this template at the end of day one yesterday morning, and we threw an image into it, and as promised we're going to dive back into that and I'm going to show you how to kind of create this a different kind of promo from a template that's for something different. So this is an album cover. So I'm going to pop into what we had at the end of yesterday. And I just found an image that I thought was really beautiful, something that I felt kind of had colors and things that matched with it. We removed a lot of the design elements. So we kept these circles, which I think are really cool, and we kept our background and our color motif here, but we're going to change this to be themed around a different kind of content. So this is going to be something that is for an influencer, and it is really to show you how, you know, if you get onto that template page and you're seeing a lot of really cool looking promotional materials that you can edit, how to kind of visualize and transform it into something that suits your needs, and feel more confident when you go in to do that, rather than looking at great looking templates and thinking, well, this is for a food business and I make lipstick or something like that. You know, kind of get those creative juices flowing and make you feel a little more confident transforming something into a piece of your own. So we've got our image. And you know, you can drop some just square or rectangle images in and collage it around. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. If we wanted to grab some more images and kind of throw them in here, I guess something that you could do, and which can look very cool, is if you start going through and snagging images and just kind of tiling them around. You could layer them with a lot of text and things if you think that suits you. I might just honestly duplicate this just for the sake of an example. And you know, if we come down here to our layers, I can kind of reorder one of these. We could start, you know, tiling and layering things. But what I really like to do is, instead of just placing flat images into a piece and then throwing some straight across text at the top, is like really bring this into a state of its own. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these images that I've added. I'm going to take our main image, which I think is just so lovely, and I'm going to make this a little bit larger. And what I'm going to do is we're going to come over to crop and shape. So if you have design elements that are according to a shape, or if you have a motif going on in your piece and you want to kind of trim or reshape the shape of an image or photo or product example that you have, you can come right in here and do this. And you can see that you can change this to like a story size, square size, all of that good stuff. If we wanted this to be a central background for something, we could, you know, go into square. If we wanted to make this a portrait, we could come in and alter this just so that it looks very lined up and nice and neat. But for the purpose of this particular piece, I'm going to come in and crop it to the shape of a circle. And I'm going to go ahead and hit done. And I like this because it goes with our background, and I can come in and resize this and just kind of place it so that it looks like all of our circles are creating a kind of radial design around our image. Like she really fits in there now. See? So very, very quickly, we can start to make this look almost like a doorway or a window into whatever it is you're showing here. Maybe this is a promotional piece for a hairdresser. Maybe this is a promotional image, a still shot from a wedding photography set. Whatever it is, you can really zero in here and start to make your product photos or your content match and really vibe with the rest of the elements that you have going. And we can take this to the next level as well. You can start to add more design elements into your piece and overlay them to really give it a sense of depth. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to grab some shapes just over here on my left hand side. I'm going to come into basic shapes. I'll hit more here, and I'm going to grab some circles. Okay, and I'm going to just center these circles. I will resize them, and I am going to kind of create another layer of depth to our main central circle design element here. So if I go ahead and center it like so, I can just hold it and it will snap. You can see my little guides kind of snapping into place. We are going to turn the fill off over here. We're going to shrink our border down just slightly so it kind of matches the ring size of the rest of our piece, and we might even need to reorient it just a tad. Let's go ahead and make this a tiny bit larger, just like so. I think that looks pretty darn good. And it's actually a good size. We could even shrink the border down to like a 13 if we wanted to. And I'm going to sample a different color for our border here. So I am going to hit my little button there. We will grab our eyedropper tool, and I'm going to find a good pink like that kind of matches the rest of our circles, and I think that looks pretty darn cool. But the next thing I'm going to do is duplicate this, because we're going to do it one last time. So we'll hit our duplicate button or Control or Command D, and then I'm going to bring this up and align it with the next ring in our circle. And what I'm gonna do with these rings is I'm gonna bring some elements that I feel match the brand, and make it look even more floral. And I'm going to start inserting flowers and things behind our image, but sort of intertwined with the rings that we have. So I'm gonna take these and I'm gonna actually put them below our image just like that. And then we're gonna go ahead and grab some floral images. So we can come over to, you could go into photos and you could remove background from some photos, but I urge you to explore the design assets because the design assets have a lot of really great images and things for you to use. So if you wanted to go into, honestly, you could probably go into graphic groups and see if we could find something in here. They have a nature section in graphic groups, which actually let's go ahead and mess around in there because I'm sure we could find like this, some flowers and things. I really like, I actually really like this rose, which I think looks cool. We might snag this rose right out of here. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that. And I will ungroup it, just select it and ungroup it. You can also hit Control Shift G. And I am going to start sampling these elements and just removing what I don't want because I like this rose, but I don't think that I like the rest of that. So I'm going to keep this rose up here. I think it has a really nice color that blends well with a lot of the blue elements in our piece, while adding something that isn't like a hot pink or a very vibrant purple, which looks pretty cool. And then let's go back into design assets and we can go into trending. Let's see what's in trending. There's a nice floral compilation here, like what's the word I'm looking for? Like a collage of flowers, which is could be really cool. They also have some little isolated flowers and things. I think what we really want, ooh, this is actually perfect because this looks like almost the same kind of flower that she has on her shoulder. So that would be cool to add in there. So we'll snag that. And then let's actually snag one of our little collages of flowers here. I think something like this would be nice. And now we're going to kind of reorder this and start to make this a blend together. And we're going to use some of our filters as well because there are a lot of different elements here. And I think these two really match with the overall composition of our piece today, but I think that this one does not. So we're going to alter it as we see fit. So I'll go ahead, I'm just going to drag this out. And I want this to be something that reaches beyond the borders in some places of our central radial image here. I might rotate this just a tad and reorganize that like so. I think that's starting to look pretty cool. And I'm gonna just drag this down like that. And you can see, because we've added our own circles, and I've put it between those and our main radial design, it starts to look like it's kind of echoing out in between different elements, which I think is a nice touch. And then we can kind of do the same thing here. We can maybe put this one between our added rings and start to layer in something like this. And I think because these flowers are on her shoulder over here, I'd like to put this one, oops, let's go ahead and Control Z to undo that. I'd like to put this carnation here over on the other side just to kind of balance it in a way. And I'm trying to make sure I don't click my other elements that I don't want to move. I think that looks cool. And then I think we can come over with our big rose, and I think we can kind of, let's go ahead and make this a little bit larger, and let's see what we can do with this. I almost wonder if we should put this behind everything. Maybe like that. Or honestly, that's kind of cool. You know, it's behind this main design that has an effect on it, and so it does change the color, but it's not so bad. I wonder what it would look like if we put this one under there too. I think maybe that does belong in between because I think that looks really cool. Let's put this one here. I think that could be cool. I think that's neat. And let's see. It's starting to look pretty neat. So now, you know, if I just click out and I kind of look at what we have, you might want to use different images, or you might want to add some effects onto these to make it a little more cohesive, but it's really starting to be so much more than what we started with just a couple of simple shapes and 3 images, and it kind of makes it look a lot more intricate. So now I would like to apply some effects to our main collage, because I do really love all the variation in color here, but I almost feel like it is making everything so busy that it is distracting from our main focus of the piece, which is our subject in the center. So I'm going to come over with this selected, and I'm going to add some filters. And again, if you are coming into filters to add some to an image, design element, whatever it is that you're working on, right when you turn filters on, it's going to activate duotone. And as I said yesterday, duotone might make some of you shy away from it because it will possibly start out with some pretty vibrant, bright, crazy colors. But I think it would be awesome if you would jump in and try some of the presets, or go in and alter the colors, the shadows, and the highlights yourself, because I think you'll find it's a really powerful tool that can work wonders on making a piece more cohesive. So let's go in and let's grab our eyedropper tool, and let's just sample around to some things that will breathe a little more life into this. So I'm going to grab this blue from our rose, and I'm maybe going to make this a little darker and a little more saturated, because I want it to have blue. I want to bring more blue into this pink area, but I want it also to not be exactly the same blue as our rose here. So we can do that. And then for our highlights, let's go ahead and grab our eyedropper tool again, and let's maybe sample one of these pinky peachy colors and just see what happens there. I actually like this a lot. I almost wonder if we ought to, let's make this a little more saturated. I almost wonder if we ought to also apply a filter to our carnation, even though it really is very similar to this flower here. I'm seeing, as I start to alter our piece, that we might actually have a lot of fun making them all cohesive like this, because it's really starting to bring our subject out. So let's go ahead and select our carnation, and let's come into filters, and let's also grab like this dark blue color, and then let's also grab a peachy pink, and it's a little bit brighter, which is cool, and I think it's starting to look really nice, honestly. I think that it still breathes life into our piece, but it all is really starting to look a lot more cohesive than when we began. So let's go ahead and do this. I think something a little more vibrant there, and then let's grab our original blue again, and just make it a tad more saturated, something that isn't crazy but still gets the point across. I think that that's good for now. I don't want to be entirely too precious with this, but this is pretty cool. So now we have, I think, you know, from where we started to where we are now, we have a lot more depth, we have a lot more color, we have a lot more stuff going on. I don't think it distracts too much from our main subject. And then we can add, honestly, another one of these circles if we want. We can go ahead and select it and duplicate it, and then bring this up top, because I would also like to place a circular frame right around the edge of our subject, just to kind of make that a little more cohesive. Something like this, boom, so that it's all framed up nice and pretty. Oops, don't want to move that. Let's make sure we're selected on our right thing. Also, if you're noodling around with a lot of your elements and you're finding you're clicking things and moving stuff you didn't want to move, go ahead and grab your the little move icon here and move that around instead. I think it'll help. So let's bump this up to like a 12 because I think that that works. And I like it. I like it a lot. You may not be a fan of bright purples and pinks, but you can see really how you can start to transform something. And you can also add a little bit of text. So you can come through here. We did explore a little bit of the headlines and phrases and things here, but I'm just going to add my own text. And I am going to kind of center this here. I am going to use a name, a random name. I'm going to go ahead and put Oliver Andrews in here, who is in our chat. Let's go ahead and write Oliver Andrews. And I am going to actually curve this. Let's go ahead and curve this and throw this underneath our piece here, which I think could be really, really fun. So you can start to really customize and make this your own, make it very unique as you go through. And I think it's starting to really shape up. Now we have just a few minutes left here together, and what I'd like to do is move away from this and jump into another template to show you how you can boost things with a little bit of animation. So I'm going to go ahead and go home. And when you jump into the templates, one of the things that I'm really trying to get across to you folks is that I understand kind of coming through here and seeing like, wow, these templates are incredible, and then opening one and maybe not feeling very confident when it comes to making it your own. And so what I'm going to do is show you how I do it, and maybe that will inspire you folks to do it as well. So if we want to go ahead and search templates, I'm actually just going to come into animated and look through these. I really love this In the Art of It template here, which is looking nothing like what I'm going to go for, but I'm going to take something that looks completely different to what I'm looking to create and show you how I alter it to suit my needs. So I'm going to go ahead and start from this. This has got a little bit of animation. You'll see that it has my little play button down here in the bottom left, which is really, really cool, but I don't want it to look so techy. I want this to look natural and give it some nature vibes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and replace this image just by selecting it and hitting replace. And I'm going to snag one of these flat lays, and you can come in and look at flat lays if you want. I love this for being able to use an image as a background that isn't too terribly distracting. And I'll go ahead and use this one here that just has these nice blue leaves. I think it is decorative without being too terribly busy, and we're gonna alter the layout of this and still use the original animation attached to some of these elements. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna snag this, because if we press play, you'll see how this kind of just appears really nicely. So I'm gonna snag this and I'm gonna put this down here on our flat lay. I'm going to select the group of the information here and bump that up. I will select our little background, solid color background, and bump this up a little bit, and then we will resize our image and move that just like so. Let's go ahead and bump our immersive art installation up. And then we're just going to change everything. We're going to change the text. We're going to change some of the colors and make it look like a completely different brand. So let's go ahead and I think what we should do, what kind of business should this be? We could still do some artsy stuff. Maybe this is I don't know, like a beauty brand for like some kind of skin butter. I don't know. We could do something along the lines of, I'm coming up with like a tagline on the fly. Something like, let's see, the brand could be called Silk, but we could spell it really artsy. We could spell it like this. Silk. And then let's change that font. Let's do something like, this is kind of a cool font. Yeah. So it's like silky smooth. Maybe they do like different skin products, different hair products, things like that. We could also put, another Y at the end, so it's like silky. I think that looks pretty cool. And then we can change our text here. I don't know if I mind this font, honestly. Let's just go ahead and change this. And this one was called Avlano Flare. So let's come in and change this to Avlano Flare. Let's go ahead and jump in here. And I will scroll through and find it. I should be able to pull it up, but I could also type it in. Avlano Flare. Oops. It showed it to me for a second there. There we go. Avlano Flare. And we'll call this we could do this for every skin type. Oops, I need to make sure I'm selected in my edit text here. Okay. For every skin type. Boom. How are we doing on time? I think we got about a minute left, and that is okay. I think our colors actually work pretty well because we have like a bright blue and the gray and the dark blue here, which looks pretty cool. And we've changed our image, so now if we play, then we have our very own animated type, animated thing here for a different kind. You know, it's no longer a tech company. It's very similar, but also totally different, and it can work. So don't be afraid to jump in and check out the templates. Don't be afraid to get a little crazy with some of the design elements. You are the masters of these promos and these templates. So if you jump in, the worst that could happen is if you place something in there and you don't really like it that much. Just get it out of there and try something new. So that is all the time I have for you today, folks. I do have to take off, but I hope that you have enjoyed this episode or challenge or prompt, so to speak, for Adobe Express. I hope that you folks will dive in and start creating stuff of your own, and I will see you around the bend. Adios, everyone.